Hello and welcome to Grumpy Old Reds Live. Hope you guys are doing well. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about Wolverhampton and in specific, Morgan Gibbs-White with the fingers in the air. Did he go over the top? Or do you guys think what he did was absolutely fine to do? We've got to look ahead to the Leicester game as well. But before we all do all that, it's playtime. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're doing well and welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Good to have you guys in the chat as we are going to get things kicked off with the usual Grumpy Gits as well. We got Ez in the house, who, guys, in the chat, he's feeling a little sick. And we got Forrest Adam, who just looks sick. And one of you's echoing.
Is it me?
Probably. You're gonna
bound to be you, isn't it?
It's usually me.
Yeah.
Good start. Guys in the chat, how are you doing? All right, sort yourself out. I'm gonna say hi to everyone in the chat. Timmy boy, it's good to see you, mate. Hope you are well. Good to see you, David. Hendo was top dog against Wolves. Indeed, he was. Nottingham now and then, as always, in the chat. Make sure you guys are following him on Instagram. Good to see you, buddy.
Definitely.
And guys, a warm round of applause to our beloved mod, Mr. FFTV mod now. Oh my. Adam, good to have you in here. Salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam even. And Andy, good to see you here. Good evening, one and all. And we've started off with Gabe. Thank you so much for the 199 super sticker. You're an absolute legend. Really look, the support from you guys this last month. Forget last month, like forever, has been amazing. But the snowball effects we're having at the moment is absolutely crazy. And it's all down to you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, he's feeling sick. But guys, I've got something. And hello, Forest Till I Die as well. I got a little treat for these two. Because you guys have been working so hard. Because you've been, sick and you have to live with that face of yours. Guys in the chat, can you please surprise them? Have a look in your list of emojis. And can you put down your new favorite emoji in the chat? And I want to see what we see more of. So guys, members, have a look in those emojis. There's a special little gift for the two legends in here. Let's see who goes with what. And if you don't like either of them, don't put any of them in. Should we do a poll? Who's your favorite grumpy old red, Ez or Ant? No, gotta see the egos. Oh, Dino's gone with Ez.
Hey! No, I knew
Andy's gone with both of them. The Viking Heart's gone with two Ez's and two Ants. Really liking them. God, you guys have been made to look so handsome in those pictures. I
know. He's done a good job, hasn't he?
Yeah. All right, shall we get... David's picked the right one. He's gone for Cluffy, of course. Okay.
Of course. Can't compete.
So let's get into this. We've got a lot to unpack from yesterday. I want to start with a hot topic, which is Morgan Gibbs-White. Yeah. And I'm going to come to you first on it because I kind of think I can guess. Have you not paid the electricity bill, mate? Yeah.
No, I'm just. I'll tell you later.
He's looking at his emoji, isn't he? He's looking at his emoji. He's so vain.
No, because on the chat, because I didn't know what you'd put. You could have put anything, and I'm just looking. And on the chat in StreamYard, you can't see the emojis, so I've had to go onto YouTube to look at it.
That's how vain he is, ladies and gents. He's opened another window to check himself out. Oh, they're all dropping the. Ez is dropping it. I'm gonna tell you guys the story from it. You don't mind if I tell him the story? And I get a message from Ant yesterday. Yeah, he goes to me, "Yo, Wolverine." He goes, "Screw Lingard, man. Can I be there instead of him?" An emoji.
I didn't say screw Lingard. I said we could drop Lingard because he's not fit.
Well, I went one step further. I actually, and you didn't screw Lingard, but I did get rid of Lingard for Ez. Sorry, Lingard, we'll get you back in. We just need a few more members. Anyway, this is not going according to plan. And
plan. What plan?
Mr. Emoji.
Plan, yeah.
Morgan Gibbs-White yesterday. He was over trying, I thought, in the match. You could tell he really wanted the goal. Yeah. But when it came to the penalty celebration, I watched so many Wolves kind of videos and stuff overnight on the game, and they were salty, man. They were like spitting feathers about Morgan Gibbs-White. It was so funny to see. And they were saying he's gone too far, should have taken a page out of Bolly's book, etc. Yeah. How did you feel about it? I'm talking in terms of the celebration, and talk us through what you thought of his penalty as well.
Yeah, well, first of all, I thought he had a very average game. He gave the ball away a lot. Wasn't his best game. As for the penalty, fuck me. I hate it. I hate that. I hate players walking up to the ball, jumping in the air like a fairy, and then kicking it. That's not how you take a penalty. He was lucky it went in. The goalkeeper could have easily saved that. It was an awful penalty. Don't like it. As for his celebration, what the hell is wrong with these Wolves fans? They've been giving him stick not only all night, but for months. For months on Twitter and other social platforms. Real bad abuse. And the guy did that. Oh, didums. I've never seen a player do that before. Have you? I mean, come on. They're pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Nothing wrong with that celebration whatsoever. I loved it. And their player did the same thing straight afterwards. Fair enough.
Kuna, yeah.
Good response. I liked it. Good response. But I love Jack. I love Jack doing it. Calmly put his penalty away, and then in a show of what's the word?
Solidarity
with Morgan Gibbs-White. I loved that. That was clever. That was class. That's my feeling on it.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it? How was it in the grounds? Because you were down that end, weren't you? Were you?
It was amazing. Yeah. Every time he came to take a corner or anything, the fans just absolutely. And he was G'ing us up as well. So that corner was very hostile last night. But I don't think it was his penalty celebration that got them riled up so much, but the celebration once we won it, because he slid with on his backside with his fingers in his ears right towards them. That was probably what upset the salty bastards more than anything else. Rather than the actual penalty celebration, it was the celebration right at the end. And obviously it kicked off after that. We didn't see what caused it, but MGW was right in the middle of it. So from that point of view, you know, it's football. You know, one of their players obviously got really offended by it all. And it was very reminiscent of Nathan Tyson corner flag routine back in a few years back. Very reminiscent of how that kicked off and how the players started getting offended on behalf of the fans. Fuck up, go down a tunnel, go and wash yourselves off and go home. You don't need to get involved, you know.
You know what? There would be literally Wolves fans in that end shouting abuse at Morgan Gibbs-White, calling him this, that, and the other, foul abuse. And then as soon as he does that, they're all offended. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I know.
In fact, I was more offended personally by Bolly not celebrating when he scored. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's a Forest player. He should bloody well celebrate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I did think that because I wasn't sure who scored because I didn't quite hear the announcement because we were so loud. But wasn't sure who scored because there was no celebration from him. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with that because you're at a new club and we've taken him. Certainly, his performances in the last half a dozen games or so have really taken him to our heart. And yeah, that would have been a bit of a. It's not as if it was in Wolves' end either. It was the opposite end of the field. He could have quite easily celebrated, couldn't it? Was it the opposite end? I can't even remember.
Wait 1 second. There's breaking news. That link's not working. Oh my.
What's Callum saying?
Oh my Twitter's not working. Oh, I can't even open it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shall I go back onto my YouTube channel?
No, I know what it is.
To look at my emoji. It's not just to look at my emoji, although I might get, might take me a little bit.
Hey, Wolves F1, good to see you. Good luck for Forest 5. Sadly, Wolves didn't take their chances, even though they were a much better team. Nah, and in the end got punished. Commiserations to you, matey. Okay, I think my Twitter's been hacked or something. I literally can't open Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's going on. But Wolves F1, I want to know how you felt about MGW with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
because I do want to hear it from a Wolves perspective. Like at the end of the day, right? My feelings towards this. I'm trying to just fix my Twitter. God only knows what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Bolly incident, Bolly should have celebrated. Bolly definitely should have celebrated, but they were more upset about the end of match celebrations, because even Dino's slide was right in front of them. They made a point of, you know, they had a good crowd. I think they had the whole lower tier, you know. Oh, fantastic! That sounds interesting. Just for the guys listening in, we're just looking at our messages about the Danilo. So there's a few tweets going out. If you haven't followed FFTV High Press for all your transfer news.
I fixed it. All right, I fixed it.
Danilo will travel to England over the weekend to complete his move to Nottingham Forest.
Come on, you Reds.
Hang on. Sources. The guy that's reporting it has 6.2 million followers.
Yeah, Callum, if you're watching, get in contact.
No, not Callum.
Is it not Callum?
No. Callum got that from another source. The
As the host, I'm going to kindly request you both shut the fuck up a second. And I'm going to just read it out. So Callum has tweeted, Danilo will travel to England over the weekend to complete his move to Nottingham Forest. I will believe it once I see FFTV High Press Twitter, and then I will believe it. Until then, we got to wait for official confirmation.
Yeah.
If you're not following High Press, please follow him now. While I've got this open now, I want to show you guys this. This has been hilarious, man. Again, hard to show the guys on the podcast listening, but have a look at this, ladies and gents. This tweet has gone absolutely crazily viral, if I can find it. And what's even cooler is our boy, one of our own, Mr. Brice Samba himself, no, he's not grumpy, but he's replied back to us. How cool is that? Saying a good sip before every pen equals a guaranteed win. That was just fantastic. Made our day when we saw that.
Absolutely. He's a legend.
So
absolutely
really good to see. So fantastic there from Brice. Brice, thank you. Hopefully we'll get you on the show soon.
We love you, Brice.
Indeed. So I forgot what we were saying. Yeah, we were talking about Morgan Gibbs-White, and I've just realized there's a big gaping hole at the bottom there where an ant was.
Did F1 respond to your question?
He's gone.
It was honestly a request. It was a request.
There was a comment. There was a comment from one of our followers last week. I think it was Jason Fairlam saying Ant has more costume changes than Padme from fucking Star Wars, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
You wait till you see what I've got arriving tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Not that package, is it? It's not that.
All we got to do first, though, we got to thank Andy so much for becoming a super Ed and joining the family. Andy, let us put the emoji in. Who do you prefer, Ez or Ant? Get it in there. And then as well, we've got Gabe. Let me just get Gabe's message up. Give Gabe the respect.
Palmeiras.
Gabe, thank you so much for becoming a member as well. And let us know which of these two old farts do you prefer as your grumpy old red. Thank you all so much for the support. But yeah, my point was quite simple about this Morgan Gibbs-White thing, right? Why do people want to make football this sterile environment where everyone has to stand there applaud with their, strawberries and creams? This is football, man. This is about passion. This is about like emotion. Like when we watch a football match, our hearts are on our sleeves. Do you know what I mean? And why can the football players not be allowed to show that same passion and respect? As far as I'm concerned, yesterday, Morgan Gibbs-White was already a red, but he got it in his blood yesterday for me. He got it, man. He got it. And he got out some demons into those Wolves fans with that celebration. And I absolutely loved it. And yeah, it's the same with Hendo as well. I'm not saying Samba would have been laughing as he typed the reply. Shame he went, but Hendo is showing us that we need to buy him. We'll get into the whole Hendo debate in a little bit as well. But yeah, and I think I want to ask you, Ez, would you have felt, let's just say when we played West Ham, if Antonio had scored against us, the winner or something, and it got into the Trent end, did that, would it have annoyed you?
If we were giving him flack and he gave us some back, no, it wouldn't bother me. I would say, you know, well, that's the best way to shut us up. And that's what a footballer does. And we don't know the extent of the abuse they receive. And I bet it's shocking. I bet it's absolutely shocking. And when your family are bought into it and your loved ones, why should anybody have to put up with that? I don't care how much you earn a week. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We all have our limits on what we'll accept as banter. That's not banter when you're, you know. I'm not saying this is what's happened, but you know, but there's footballers who've had death threats, and you know, their families being threatened, houses being robbed. You know, there's no excuse for that, and there's no way that just because they're earning a certain amount of money and they are public figures, that they should have to accept that. So, I bet, as Ant alluded to, that is a lot of pent up frustration that came out last night, and. You know, and if the shoe was on the other foot, as per your example, no, I wouldn't have an issue with it. I wouldn't have an issue with it. I'd be a hypocrite to have an issue with it. And unfortunately, that is the situation. We're in a world of keyboard warriors and virtue signalers, and all these people. They all cross over into the same spaces, and they can't make their mind up what they're actually upset about. But the fact that they have the right to be upset. Wake up and start thinking for yourselves. You know. Go on.
You know. I mean, I understand what you're on about with the personal abuse, the online threats, the house robbings. But to be honest, it doesn't need that. If a player's getting stick from fans, he should be allowed to give it back. I don't give a shit. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, we were playing Liverpool at Anfield, and I was there in the crowd, in our end, obviously. And I think we definitely went up in the game. Stan Collymore was playing for them, by the way. And we were up in the game. I think we might have even gone 2-0 up.
Yes, we did.
And Stan was getting dogs abuse from our fans. Dogs abuse. And he scored. And I think he scored again. And as he was running back, he put his two fingers up behind his back and went like that to Forest fans. Yeah. And the people around me were going fucking mad. And I was thinking, what's your problem, dude? You've just been calling every name under the sun. And he does that back. Can you blame him? I'd do more than that if I was him. Yeah. So some people are just like, they you know, doesn't make sense to me.
But I don't think it's wrong for a fan to get annoyed by it, because you know, if you give it, you better well damn take it, you know. But I also think from a footballer's point of view, they got to be a bit thick-skinned sometimes, haven't they? I'm not talking about Morgan Gibbs-White here. I'm just talking, you're in the spotlight, you're gonna get abuse. Like we get abuse on, you know, on this channel. It doesn't bother us. I actually find it quite entertaining. I like the fact that we do annoy people, you know.
We find it quite entertaining.
To be honest, sometimes I like the abuse more than the
we abuse each other anyway. So.
Yeah, that's true. You can't say anything worse to us than we say to each other, to be fair. So yeah, give it your best shot.
But my point here is, like, there should be a certain expectation from footballers to not to accept it, that's too strong a word, but to anticipate that this is going to come. And you know, they should be mentally strong enough to deal with it. There is a line that can't be crossed. Do you know what I'm saying? But in terms of what Ant's saying about Stan Collymore can take that, you know.
Yeah, to me, it's more of a fun thing. It's more like Morgan Gibbs-White and that's going, you know, it's like, it's not like, you know, getting aggressive and nasty. And you know, the people who get the worst abuse and who don't do that, the referees, they get abused every single week by both sets of fans.
Yeah.
So their skin must be thicker than a rhino's, honestly.
And with the ref, you're going to play like we had with Lee when we had the Blackpool game. He thought the ref was brilliant. We thought the ref was crap. You know, the ref will never end up in a position where he appeases both sets of fans. It's almost impossible, very rare. You know, I guess unless it's a ball draw, 0-0 or something. But yeah,
I mean, we love the referee at the playoff final, but I don't suppose Huddersfield fans are very, you know, keen on him, are they?
Why would they have not liked him?
Well, because they don't know about football, do they? They don't understand when a foul's a foul and when it's not.
I mean, there's a contrast to be drawn. I'm just going to kind of like almost refer to Matt D's comment about Lingard as well. We saw the reception that Lingard got from Man U fans at Old Trafford. He didn't get booed off. He didn't get abuse. Morgan Gibbs-White's been at Wolves since a kid. Obviously, he's Wolverhampton born and bred. You know, you can tell by the shoddy accent, but did he deserve that because he wanted to pursue it? If they really wanted to keep him, and when you spoke to Dave earlier on in the week, he said they were more than happy with the price tag they got for him.
Yeah.
So they were happy to, they were happy for him to go. So you can't be happy for him to go and then be upset that he scored against you. That's what I'm talking about. You can't have it both ways, But that seems to be everybody wants to have their cake and eat it.
Because a lot of the stuff they've been saying about him, I don't think we've seen as a Forest fan base with him. Because Dave mentioned it as well. And by the way, Dave is lovely and fantastic. There's nothing to do with Dave. It's kind of just more the persona I'm talking about. Because he said there's a section of the fan base that accuse Morgan of being a gangster wannabe, and a bit of a thug and what have you. I haven't seen that from him. Maybe I've missed it with my Morgan Gibbs-White goggles on, but I think he looks like a genuine lad who just wants to play football. Maybe, they're jealous of his missus or something like that, or his lifestyle. Just let him get on with playing football, man. He's been doing, for me, his talking on the pitch. And that's all I care about what he's doing.
Let's be honest. This might be a bit controversial and might upset a few people, but society in general is soft these days. You're not allowed to say anything without somebody getting offended somewhere. In the olden days, when I was a lad, footballers and football fans gave a lot more than they do nowadays, trust me. And it was just no big deal. They just game,
And we're not saying that was right or wrong, but
it was fun.
You were allowed to. People gave their opinions whether it was right or wrong, But now
it's not racist or homophobic or sexist or anything like that.
If you're not targeting somebody for the way they are, then you should be allowed to stick to players at the ground.
But at the same time,
go on.
But at the same time, like I'll take my boys, as you guys know. Unfortunately, he's a big Arsenal fan. Yeah. And I've been taking. I know. I mean, he should be Ant's son, shouldn't he? That would be more. But he might be. I don't know. But whenever I've taken him to the Emirates since he was the little kid, maybe 4 or 5 years old. Daddy, please take me. And the language is filthy, man. But it's the norm in football, isn't it? Yeah. And you just think as well, like, you can't complain about someone doing that when you've been there effing and blinding with probably a 5 or a 6-year-old by your, who's got nothing to do with you by your side.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't hand it out. And then when somebody's put their fingers in, which is probably the mildest rebuke he could have done, he didn't whip anything out and wave it at him. I would have done that. But he didn't do anything like that. He put his fingers in his ears. Could it be any more mild?
And you're right. You'll have a guy there with his 10-year-old son or daughter with him.
Yeah.
Effing it, seeing it and being it at Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White does that and he goes up the wall. And yet...
It's crazy. It's crazy. I just want to bring up what JP said here. Did you hear what ex-Forest fans, now Man United YouTube host said about Dino playing in the cup? No. What did they say?
No.
What did they say?
Come on, don't
I want to move on. I think he's referring to Goldbridge. Sorry, go on. I think he's referring to Goldbridge.
Okay. Goldbridge. I want to move on to Dino and this conversation about Dino. Firstly, how good was he yesterday? Those 2 saves in the first half were huge. I mean, again, I think he's case and point done with this whole Hennessy versus Dino conversation. Brazilian League saying Wolverine, the French, British, and Brazilian press are saying Danilo will sign. All parts agreed on the deal. Yes, we broke it a little earlier that Danilo is flying over this weekend to be signed, sealed, and delivered. So we'll definitely be talking about Danilo in a little bit once we get through the Wolves match, because I want to get these two's opinion on it. But I forgot what I was saying. Hendo, so fantastic performance. Ez, is he a red for you, and not a United one?
I hope there's no hesitation in trying to seal a deal for Hendo. Whether if we could do it now, but I can't see there's no benefit for Man U allowing us to do that now. But at the end of the season, obviously a lot of it's dependent on our situation. But I've got no doubt we'll stay in the league. Hendo is a red. He's as red as I've seen him, mate. To be fair, and we've had some. We had a chat when I got back home last night from a game, and we were talking about some hero goalkeepers that we've had down the years, especially in penalty shootouts, and obviously Crosley springs to mind. But Hendo, he's and obviously Bree Samba other playoffs, and Hendo now.
Lee Camp against Derby.
Lee Camp, he's he's such an underrated hero. If you ever get a chance to watch his interviews, he loved his time at Forest. He absolutely loved it, and he definitely took us on board and fucking hated Derby, which we loved him even more for. But we've had some good goalkeepers down line, and Hendo is definitely.
Okay, well let's expand on that, Ez. Right, I'm gonna put a poll into the chat. Right. I want you to put a nomination for your favorite goalkeeper of all time. I'm not saying best, but your favorite. And then, Ant, I want to get yours as well. I'll put one in, and then we'll see which one's chat. Like chat, get writing. Who's your favorite? Not best, but favorite goalkeeper of all time. So, who are you gonna go with?
I've got to go with Crosley because that's when I grew up. Steve Sutton was in goal, but then Crosley took over as I was getting into following Forest. And I remember his debut against Liverpool, where if you've heard the story, literally Cloughie told him like an hour before kickoff that he was playing that night, and he'd already told his dad and said, "Don't mention anything to your boy, but I want you down here. He's going to make his debut today." Against Liverpool, we're flying top of the league. Barnes, Rush, Beardsley up front, and he had an amazing game, and we won that game at Anfield. So he just went from strength to strength for me, and he was a real character as well. And obviously, we mentioned about the Spurs penalty shootout. Yeah, which sealed it. And he made some amazing saves. Matthew Letitia missed one penalty in his whole career, and it was Mark Crosley that saved that. He saved the first FA Cup final penalty against Gary Lineker. All these milestones, for me, it has to be Mark Crosley. But I tell you what, Hendo, if he carries on, mate, you'll be pushing him close. Definitely.
Well, I'm not okay. Well, and give you a nomination because
there is only one. There is, trust me, there is only one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Do I need to say Peter Shilton?
Is it Shilton for you? Yeah, Shilton.
Okay. God almighty. Oh, I've literally got goose pimples on my arm just mentioning his name. He was,
Have you got Sutton in there? Because Keith's shouting out Sutton.
Steve Sutton.
I'm gonna put it up as Big Norm, Shilton, Samba, and Sutton. I'm not gonna put Henderson. One, I haven't got enough space.
I love
Secondly,
Van Breukelen.
Henderson's still fresh.
You're not gonna put Lee Camp in there. I'd put Lee Camp in.
I love Van Breukelen. Yeah, but you know, compared to the likes of Van Breukelen, Shilton, they're not.
Oh my God, Shilton shot into the lead. And guys in the chat, the reason I've put Samba in there is because I want, because obviously we got all generations in the chat. So the youngers, I reckon, may go for Samba. So it's a nice little, data gathering exercise for us guys here. So there is a few youngsters in there, 18%. But at the moment, go on.
No, I was going to say it will highlight people's age ranges as well in their votes. But I saw Keith put in Sutton, and Sutton was in that little gap between Shilton and Mark Crosley, and we had League Cup finals, we had Zenith Data Systems, and he won trophies at that time. So for a lot of people, he will be a hero, definitely growing up in the mid-80s.
Wow, have a look at Matt D's list. He's gone.
I actually met Mark Crosley a few weeks ago, if you remember.
Yeah,
got it on video.
Yeah,
he was ever so pleased to meet me. Yeah, big smile on his face.
I bet he was. He tweeted it out and everything, mate. I saw it.
Can I just reference a comment earlier on, but I think it's by Jolly Ollie. He said, "Do you remember when Brian Clough put up some boards along the front of the Trent saying, 'Gentlemen, no swearing, please'?" What happened was, before that, the Forest fans were really, because in those days it was you're going to get your effing heads kicked in. It was all FFFFs. And it was actually picked up on the telly quite loudly, and they actually interviewed him afterwards. He says, "I'll sort that out." And the next game, there was a huge board along the front of the Trent end, facing the Trent end, saying, "Gentlemen, no swearing, please." And for the entire rest of the season, I swear to you, the Forest fans were saying, "You're going to get your flipping head kicked in." And who the flipping hell are you? That was the power of our manager.
That's the legend, mate. That's the legend.
It was amazing.
Well, look. This maybe worries me about our demographics in the chat, right? Because 70% have ggone for Shilton.
You know the history.
Bit of a history, exactly.
18. Yeah. No, it's come down a bit. Someone's got scared of their age. 69 Shilton, 18 Big Norm, 14 Samba, and 0% have gone for Sutton, which is quite interesting. I am being, 21. I can just about remember Mark Crosley, so I'd go with Mark Crosley for my distant memories.
You know, one of my favourite memories of Mark Crosley. Sorry about this, guys. I have a lot of memories. One of my favourite was he used to make some mistakes, and he got dropped. Yeah. And we played away at Bolton, I think it was. And you know what I loved about him, and I'll never forget it, is that when we scored, he was running on the pitch, cheering everything. And I thought, wow, that guy, what an attitude, Fantastic.
If you saw Dino yesterday, honestly, he lapped it up at the end of a match. Every single corner of the pitch he went to, and he really soaked it up.
And clap your hands. If you all
Gordon, please, there's no more ant memory lane here. Unless we get a massive spam of ant emojis in the chat, then we just don't want it. Rachel says she's nearly 40. Rachel, you look as young as me at 21, so don't worry about it. Oh yeah, Chris Woods as well. Yeah, we've had some great keepers.
Chris Woods was 17, never played a league game, and took us all the way to the League Cup final, and at Wembley and at Old Trafford in the replay. Chris Woods, fantastic.
Yeah.
There's Martin with his Big Norm story. I love how everyone's got a story about a certain player. I remember meeting Andy Reid. I was like a rabbit in headlights. And
I remember when he made his debut as well.
Oh my god! All right, Ez, I'm going to ask you a question because we're going to be every line with Ant at the moment starting with "I remember."
when I were a lad,
back in my day, in the good old days.
Hey, there weren't bad old days, I can tell you.
Yeah. Well, maybe the good days are still, ahead as well, mate. So I want to talk about the actual gameplay, Ez, in terms of Forest and your assessment of the game, because I'll give a quick brief of mine. I thought we were brilliant for 20 minutes. We really pressed them. We got in their faces and attacked them. And then once we got the goal, I just felt we went low block and we almost invited the pressure on. Was that the same feeling in the grounds, or did we maybe not get the angles right on the TV and stuff?
No, not so much in the first half, but certainly as we went into the second half, that was definitely seemed to be the game plan, and it was similar to the performance I saw against Southampton, where bar probably an opening 10 minutes where they had a chance, we dominated that first half, but second half we sat back and almost allowed them on. But they had Southampton had no penetration. Wolves looked a bit sharp yesterday, and it could have been a worse result basically if we'd carried on like that. We did start off very well. The line was amazing. I kept pointing it out. I was out with Charlie watching the game, and I kept pointing out to look how high we are. As it literally, there was only Bolly and Worrell in our half, and we were pressing them. And you could see the majority of the chances we had early on were caused by our press and them making mistakes. And it was a joy to watch. But again, whether it's down to because playing like that physically takes a lot out of you, whether we really haven't got that stamina yet to be able to persist with that for more than a half. That's my concern, and that's what seems to be the case when I'm watching certainly the Southampton game and yesterday's game. That seemed to be, and pretty much the same players bar one or two in both games. That's what I think is the issue, that we haven't got the stamina to keep up that style of play for more than a half at the moment. It's something that a favourite of ours, Bielsa, drummed into his lead side. Their fitness was the key. Once they got the fitness, they could play the way he wanted them to play. And I think we're almost getting the shape right now to an extent, but we haven't got the players in the right fitness level, basically, to be able to perform that. I don't know if you guys see it as that might be the case, or whether it's more you're taking the foot off the gas.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Ant, about this, because we had, I think, about 34% possession. Do you think it's a fitness issue, or, as I mentioned on the video earlier, and shout out to Bet MMA if he's watching, because he completely disagreed with me, which I love, by the way, because I like both sides of the debate. But for me, having 34% possession means the majority of the game you're chasing the ball. Surely that's going to knacker them out quicker than if we were holding the ball and letting the ball do the work. Or am I barking up the wrong tree here? And what do you feel about the ball possession thing?
I think it's spot on. First of all, the chat is funny tonight. It's funny tonight. I think it's spot on. I don't think it's particularly a fitness issue. I don't believe that. We're a professional Premier League football club with, among the best people around in charge of our players. So I don't think it's. I do think it is a case of when you are out of possession, you are bound to fatigue quicker than the team in possession. Bound to, sure. And I think that is the problem that we are allowing, and it is allowing. It's not a case of we can't press. We are allowing teams to dominate. I think that's part of our game plan, and I don't like it. I think we need to press more, and I think if we press more, we'll get the ball back quicker. We'll score more goals. It's dead simple, isn't it? I mean. And we have the players to do it.
We do. We really do. But I just want to bring some more breaking news because here at FFTV. Hold on. Let me just do this again. Here at FFTV, we only talk to the big boys.
Go on. I was just going to make a point about João Felix has been sent off, evidently, which I find highly amusing.
Has he seriously been sent off?
Has he really? On his debut?
Have a look at this. So our very own Mod Omai is obviously down with the big boys himself, and he's been speaking with Fabrizio Romano on Twitter. So Danilo to Forest News, and Fabrizio Romano has said, waiting for final details, and then Danilo to Forest. HW.
Here we go.
Here we go. So, guys,
that's not what,
it is.
Is that what it is? Here we go.
It is time to get excited because Danilo is going to be our second.
You were down with the kids like me, as
well. Clearly, mate. We established that earlier.
Shut up! Don't just start freaking talking over me. And Simon said Danilo is happening. Romano's replied to our tweet hinting it. So, guys.
Yeah,
breaking exclusive news here. FFTV speaking to Romano.
Yeah,
how are we feeling about Danilo? And Gabe saying can't wait for the Danilo emoji. Well, we're either going to need like 15 more new members, or I'm going to have to delete an emoji of Anne or Ez. So, guys in the chat, who do you want removed? Get their emojis in.
You know what? He's like? He's so toxic, mate. So toxic. Such a flip flopper. He gives with one hand, takes with the other.
Yeah, I know. He's using us. You know that, don't you? He's using us. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want Ez removed, get his emoji in the chat. If you want Ant removed, get his emoji in the chat. Let's see which one we get rid of. But let's move the conversation on to Danilo, because we had that amazing chat with Mario the other day, who gave us real insight. And by the way, how perfect was his English as well, and really insightful. I was
and was taking tips.
Shall I tell you something? Right? My brother was watching it, and he called me up, and he goes, "This guy's English is so good." He goes, "He used some words where I had to get the dictionary out and just double check the meaning." It's like, I think he used something like diminutive or something like that. Yeah, and my brother was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And I was like, "Do you guys know what it means?"
Diminutive.
Sorry, I can't even say it.
Mate. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes, I do know what it means, but I can't spell it, but I do know what it means. But yeah, he was very well spoken and fantastic. The guys really loved him in the chat. It was one of our best live streams, wasn't it? And hopefully we'll get him back on. He gave us some good tidbits about these players, and let's hope that some of the rumors are true. But we don't deal in rumors, do we? We just deal in hard facts here at FFTV. So yeah, once it's announced, you hear it from us first. Definitely.
Yeah, but in terms of what he was saying is, in fact, let's come to Ant on this one. In terms of the player profile, because he was hinting towards a Pogba, a bit of a Casemiro in there. Maybe still needs a bit of physicality coming on him in terms of building up some muscle. Do you worry, Ant, that potentially he's not going to have the physique for the Premier League when he comes in?
First of all, I can't say you can compare somebody to Pogba and Casemiro because they're quite different players, but Casemiro is far more defensive midfielder than Pogba ever was. But No, I don't worry about the physicality because you don't have to be big to be strong. You really don't. And I believe he's quite tall. And yeah, if he can cope with the Brazilian league, I don't imagine they're softies. You know, I don't know. I don't watch.
They are a little less physical. What Mario was saying in there, it's played
South
at a
Americans
bit
have
less
got this
pace,
reputation, haven't they?
Yeah, but they allow, you know, the expansive play of the flair players to progress, and there, where here you probably get crunched, you know, that kind of thing. So
you can never, you can never be certain when you bring a player in from foreign league, any foreign league. You can never be certain. But quite frankly, Mario got me stoked up the way he was talking about him. I mean, he really seemed to think he was like the best player in the world. So I'm excited by it, and I'm happy to if we get him, I'm happy to have him, and I've every belief that he can cope in our division. Our division's not that. It's not that. It is physical. It's pace more than anything in our division. It's not necessarily like physical crunching tackles and things like that. It's pace that you have to be aware of. There's a lot of that in our division, and also, I believe he's a pacey player.
They're not. They haven't got the facilities that we've got. You know, their pitches aren't anything like what they will play on in this country. There's a lot of things that aren't really up to scratch, and I think that's what is the appeal of coming to Europe.
1 second, sorry, 1 sec, guys. It's official. FFTV Hive Press has tweeted it. Danilo is flying over for his medical this weekend. You want the full story? Go and follow FFTV, the High Press, on Twitter. It's right there under Ez. What great news. Go on, Ez. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. So the facilities and everything that you get in Europe is something that appeals to these players who want to test themselves at a higher level. So there are things that level the playing field a little bit, you know. So maybe they don't have the same type of play, but there's other things that they do that increases their skill level. Like I say, playing on these boggy pitches, and certainly not like the carpets that you see at the City Ground. You know, that pitch this season. We haven't mentioned it, to be honest, but the pitch has been immaculate all season, hasn't it? And we've been lucky enough to be at all the home games. It's you know, it can't go undervalued, to be honest, because it's an amazing job that the groundsmen do there. But yeah, going back to it, there's things like that will level the playing field. So I think if we can get this over the line, mate, you can see the type of interest he's attracted, and we're playing in a higher, totally different league now. And if you can hold off to you know, who is it? Arsenal have been interested in him. Chelsea were. Who else was it? There was other big.
Being the resident Arsenal, you know, fan, they were pretty certain they were getting him. You know, earlier in this window and the previous window, they were like doing shows about Danilo and, you know, tactical breakdowns on him and stuff like that. They were like very confident. Now, let's be honest. If they wanted him, they'd get him. So they've obviously cooled that interest.
I'm not convinced, mate. I'm not convinced, because it's just not about going to the club. It's got to be the right fit. And clearly, the thing we're missing here, the big joker up the sleeve, if you like, Scarpina. Scarpina.
Yeah,
he's had a massive say in this.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that we would be able to match. Mind you, I don't know. Match the weight. I don't know what wage he's going to be on. I imagine it's not small.
It's not going to be astronomical. He's 21, but we got the Greek father. We got the Greek father. Don't worry about it. That's why I've never had this deal in doubt. But I do want to ask you about the breakdown in the deal, because what we were hearing was that initially it was very close to being done, and then Forest came out saying, or part of Forest negotiation was, we want him in for 3 matches, as in once we've played 3 matches with him, then so let me start again. We want him in on loan. And if he plays for 3 matches, then we're going to trigger a must-buy clause, which we will pay for you in the next transfer window. And Palmeiras were like, what the hell kind of deal are you talking about? And Nottingham, now and then, you're way too generous with your £10, bro. Thank you so much. Oh my, get his link in the chat. And Acid Burnout, thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome to Forest Fan TV and becoming a Super Ed. But yeah, and on this one, like, have you ever heard of a deal like that where
Right.
You know, let's kind of have a little taste test of the player.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Where did I always say to you, don't I? Source. Where's the source for this story? Did it come from Nottingham Forest Football Club? If it didn't, I cannot believe. Why would you say 3 games? I mean, 3 games is not very many. It's not like 20 games. It's 3 games. I mean, if you don't give the guy 3 games a chance, then what the hell are you doing? You know, so to me, it all sounds a little bit fishy to me. I don't know how much I believe of that.
It's more to do with the idea of having him in here and deferring the payment to the next window, if you see what I'm saying, because that will push it.
So if you paid 3 games immediately, we still wouldn't pay until summer.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to do. Yeah,
but if you did pay 3 games, it would be you would be compelled to buy him if you paid 3 games.
Obligation to buy. Yeah,
obligation to buy.
Yeah,
it's still a weird way. Normally, you just have a loan, don't you? We'll loan him to the end of the season with an obligation to buy. You don't stipulate 3 games because, like I say, 3 games is not enough to judge a player anyway. So
you say that, but Bade got 0 games and he was judged.
He was judged, but also it's about acclimatization, isn't it? It has to be whether he'll be able to, because that 3 games could be stretched over the rest of the season.
You know what's happened, don't you? You know what's happened, don't you? The Greek father said, "Enough. I'm having him. Here's your money." That's what's happened.
Exactly. But just interestingly, a couple of the guys in the chat are bringing it up. Acid Burnout saying Wolves did exactly the same thing with Acuna. I think he means Kuna. Kuna Matata. They activated his buy clause after the game last night. So is this a direction that football's going to go in? And then if it does, are we going to start to see this weird pattern where, let's say someone has a 10-game activation clause and they just get them to 9 and they're like, now we'll hold fire now. Do you know what I mean? It's weird.
I do like Ezra's idea that it might be more to do with acclimating to the conditions, to the the country. And I like that idea.
Say that word again.
Acclimating to the conditions.
Acclimatizing.
No. If you actually read your grammar, it's acclimating. Okay, not acclimatizing. It's acclimating.
Okay, I'll hang my head in shame. I've been corrected.
So that makes sense because then that's where the 3 games would come in, wouldn't it? So that makes sense. Say, well, we want to just see if he actually settles in. If he settles in, okay.
No small thing. No small thing to come. Leave your home country. He's still young,
21. People don't understand that, do they? They just don't.
They don't. I think because the money talks. And the money obviously is a lot more than he's going to get in his home country, and that's why part of. And usually what happens is they don't just come over on their own; they bring the entire family over with them, and that's obviously a much bigger move logistically and emotionally than just coming over on your own. So there is things to take on board, which we as fans, we either ignore it or it doesn't cross our mind, but it's the human aspect of all of this, isn't it? Like we were touching on earlier. So that I think would make sense for me, and that's what I said. It's either unusual or it's an innovative way to do things.
So it's interesting.
So if Logi and Scarpino have got their families over, we're going to have quite a Brazilian contingent in Nottingham, aren't we? Be nice.
Well, yeah, because Tete's linked as well to us. Hermosa, by the way, for you, just quick update for you guys who are listening in, if you're still awake. Hermosa is looking very likely to come, and again, that's another headache because the talk is we're bringing him in on loan from Atletico, but we've already got Logi, Hernan Logi. I keep making him sound French. I'm just going to call him Lodi, but again, I don't know how that one's going to work, and that may need an obligation to buy or an option to buy, I think, to legitimize it. Tim said, "Do we have a chance?"
What's the issue with that? Why would that be an issue? Bringing
you can't have 2 players from the same club on loan if it's Premier League.
Yeah, but they're not Premier League.
I don't, but it doesn't specify if it's just Premier League or
I thought, and I could be wrong because I thought it was Premier League to Premier League. But you might be right. I don't know that. Anybody in the chat know? Do a bit of research.
Better than us. Yeah, they may know. We'll let FFTV High Press sort that one out. and figure it all out. But obviously, there is a way to do it because it's more than rumors now. It's a strong link to Hermosa. And I quite like this signing. He is a pacey defender. I'm not talking Linford Christie pace, but he's really pacey. He's a bit aggressive in the way he defends. But, it's one finally I'm excited about just because he's faster than Cook, really, for me. And I'm going to be straight with it, right? But do either of you know much about him? Have you seen? I know I'm probably aiming this more at Ez than Ant because Ant doesn't look beyond beyond the shores, does he?
We're Premier League, baby. We don't need to look anywhere else.
Only on FIFA, mate. I'm sorry, but only on FIFA. He's been in my team.
That's worse than me.
I know. I'm sorry.
Actually, he's not wrong because he's a great starting centre back on FIFA when you start
your
ultimate team up.
He really is.
Wasn't there a player that everybody used to get on FIFA, but he never actually played real football, but he was brilliant on FIFA, and everybody used to always bet him?
Do you know who that was? Should I say it's a French guy who's in the MLS. I think it's Alessandrini. Alessandro, I don't know if you lot have heard of him. He got this special card on FIFA 18, 84 rated. He was amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah, so going back to just in FIFA, not in IRL, mate. Unfortunately, sorry, I can't answer that one for you, mate. But
he's down with the kids.
Yeah, well, eventually.
Look at this weirdo in the chat. Wolverine, you could make a Russian general sound French. It's really easy to make anything sound French. But yeah, so he's coming in. But I just want to nip back to Danilo even before we talk about that. One of the things with Danilo is one of his weak points is over-aggression and mistiming challenges in the midfield. And that could be a bit of a problem for us going forward, don't you think? Or do you think that will come with age?
That's something that can be trained. You can be trained not to make rash challenges and stuff like that. That's an easy thing to fix. Well, relatively easy thing to fix.
Yeah, which is what
having the talent is the thing you want. Coaching out mistakes is the coach's job, so that should be okay.
What's his age now? Is he 27, 28?
21.
Oh, we're talking back about Danilo, mate. We're back on Danilo.
Oh, sorry, gone to Danilo. Sorry, I was
Before you say that, though, Gabe, thank you so much for the £2. Got to head off now. Have a good stream. Come on, you Reds. Come on, you Reds, indeed, buddy. Thank you so much.
Sorry, back to Danilo. Yeah, Danilo's 21. He's just got so much ahead of him, hasn't he? But the only downside, the only thing where you kind of worry about is that when these players come out and they're labeled as the next this and the next that, how many of them actually fulfill that potential? And maybe it's a switch over to Europe that either makes them or breaks them, doesn't it? We have seen many success stories, but there's been a lot more that have fallen through the gaps, and you don't hear from them again. But
the usual path is Brazil to Portugal or Spain for 10, 20 million. Then because Portugal and Spain are farmers league, they're brilliant there. And somebody like Chelsea goes in and pays, or Man United go and pay 80 million. I got a feeling that we get Danilo, if he turns out to be what we hope he is, next season there'll be people coming in with 40, 50, 60 million bids for him, the Man United and things. It's just that we've cut out that middle step.
Yeah.
But that's a risk because ours is a harder league.
And obviously, a lot of them, it is a farmers league. They are farmers leagues, but obviously there's the lack of a language barrier when they're going over to Portugal and Spain. So that is the appeal for them as well. And it's not such a massive change in culture and in how they live and what they eat. So that, taking all that into account is probably why more South Americans go straight to that part of Europe than coming to England first. But we've got it's an interesting debate. Nice little group of South Americans in our squad at the moment, so it could be helpful. Go on, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's an interesting debate because the normal transition is usually they're going to Portugal. If they're good, they get picked up by Barca or Real. That tends to be the transition there. Then you've seen it happening a bit more with the likes of Wolves because they had the Portuguese connection, haven't they? They've basically been Portugal FC for a few seasons, but they were picking them up from Portugal as well. And then you've seen the rest of the Premier League targeting Portugal. Like you got Nunes for Liverpool, Bruno Fernandes went to Man U. But I quite like this idea that Forest are going directly to source here, doing some great scouting in South America, because I think it's just too small-minded and narrow-minded to make this assumption that they have to be from Europe or they're crap. I mean, some of the best players we've ever seen in our lifetime, have been from South America. So if you've done your due diligence, why can they not be a success over here? I think it's an interesting strategy, and I'm wondering, is it something that Forest are going to carry on with?
I love the idea of actually going over to Brazil or Argentina and picking those players up at 10, 15, 20 million. I love it.
Yeah. There have been one or two, and I can't think of their names at the moment, but I know there's been one or two who've gone to clubs like Spurs, directly from South America, and we don't hear of them again. I know. It wasn't a really good example, but the
manager and the team ethic plays a lot.
I'm going back to when they had Pochettino in charge, and that they were able to get. I can't remember. I don't know if it was Lo Celso or there was a couple of them that we bought directly from Argentina and from Brazil, and they just didn't really hit the mark. But we've got to be paid. If it's a player of that age coming into a new league, what we do have to have is patience with them, and not expect them to hit the ground running and to be the next big thing from their very at that age. We've got Scarpa at the peak of his career, so we are expecting him to hit the ground running. But Danilo, you got to look at it. I think have a different approach to it, but that's just my opinion on that.
Okay, let's move this forward because it make it harder for you guys. Because I've been quite easy on.
Can I just quickly say something about that with Ez about being patient? I agree with that, but I don't know about how you lot feel, but I feel I can tell within a couple of games if a player's got it. He doesn't have to play brilliantly, but if he's got something about him, you know what I mean? As soon as he come on the pitch, almost you can think, wow, you know what I mean? But you're absolutely right. But he can still play, make mistakes, play badly. You've got to be patient. I agree with that.
Okay, let's make this a little more awkward for you guys. Does he go straight into the team for you guys? Yes or no? Guys in the chat, I've just opened a poll. Wow, to the voting already. But go on, Ez, does he go straight in for you?
Not for me. Not straight in.
Why not?
I think because I don't think I don't think we know enough about him to put him straight in. And the way the others have been playing at the moment, I don't think it would work to put him straight in. I don't think it would work.
And
it's different to earlier on in the season when we were having this debate about Lodi. The team was still building then, but the structure was still building then. You weren't bringing them into a settled team. We've got a bit more of a settled team now.
I'm not going to let you off the hook that easily. Okay, but Scarpa, you said chuck straight in.
Anyway, go on.
All right, but you said chuck Scarpa straight in. You just sound like a hypocrite.
No, I've already said about Scarpa. We're getting Scarpa at the peak of his career. We're not getting Danilo at the peak of his career. We're getting him at the beginning of his career, pretty much. So that's the difference for me.
Okay, and where are you? Yes or no? Chuck him straight in.
If he's as good as we all hope he is, and we've been told he is, he comes over, he has a week's training. If he shows he's up for it in training and training well, put him in. No problem.
Okay, I was glad you said that because I want to make it even harder for you. You know what I'm going to ask you?
Who we're going to drop?
Yep. Guys in the chat, who do you drop? If you said yes, and most of you said yes, because I've trapped you in here, 70% on the poll, 71 in fact, have said yes. I'm buying Ant some time here because I can see the cogs spinning in his head.
Right.
Who would you drop?
Danilo, Mangala, Freuler.
You're dropping Yatesy?
Depending on the game, yeah.
Okay.
If it's going to be a scrappy midfield, hard kicking battle, then I'll have Yates in. But under normal circumstances, because I want Freuler a bit further up the pitch, Mangala is a bit of an enforcer, and Danilo to be a slightly deeper.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, can I chime in then? Because I didn't say I'd throw him straight in, but if I was to throw him straight in with the formation we're playing now, I'd take Freuler out. I'd keep Yates in and Mangala in. I'd sit him. I'd sit Danilo in a CDM position because I think he's a better. I'm hoping he's a better CDM than Freuler
is. Where's the creativity then, Ez?
The creativity you're going to get from Mangala. Mangala will have a freer role. Mangala can do that. He can get the ball. You saw yesterday, there was a couple of occasions. He just, for some reason, he takes that one step too much at the moment.
I agree.
But he gets through players very, very well. He did it really impressively against Everton earlier in the season. He has got that ability to get in and around and dispossess players high up the field and put us on the front foot. He just needs to get that last bit right, the final ball right.
I'm just not sure he's got the passing range of Freuler. I mean, with Mangala, a couple of times, you're absolutely right. A couple of times yesterday, it was like, oh my, wow, oh shit. You know what I mean? He'll burst past two players and then run into the third one. I don't know if he's got quite that vision. And
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking back to the Chelsea game. There was a couple of times when he got a 1-2 in with some killer passes down the line. He has. I believe he has got that ability if we can free him up from his defensive role. We're talking about Mangala. Why he can do that? He can be a bit more attack minded and get us forward.
He can't shoot.
But Freuler can play that role as well. Because we are going to have to bring these players in at some point. So it's one of those that, probably if O'Brien's fully fit and on form, he's a natural swap for Yatesy, for example. If you've got Danilo playing in the CDM, then Freuler and Mangala are interchangeable for me. So yeah, that's how I look at it personally.
The chat of voting, keep your votes coming in. I'm going to leave this one open a bit longer. Most of them would drop Mangala. 15, well, it's now 60% would drop Mangala. 27% would drop Yatesy, and 13% would drop Freuler.
That's funny because when Mangala was injured, everybody in the dog was desperate for him to come back. He's finally got back, and everybody wants to drop him again.
Yeah,
I don't.
And Freuler was one of the ones who was getting dogs abuse sometimes for no reason. So it's maybe different fan groups have different opinions, but our guys seem to be very, open to understand what role Freuler actually plays. And Freuler yesterday was very good. I was really impressed by his performance.
Do you want to know who I'd drop?
Go on. Mangala.
I'd drop Mangala and Yates.
Okay, and then what are you doing with
being fullback?
You're going 4-2-3-1, aren't you?
I'm going to put Freuler and Danilo in the 2.
Yeah.
Hang on. This is changing the goalposts.
I know. He does it. He does that. It's his rules, isn't it? It's his show.
That ain't what you asked.
Yeah. I know.
I asked you who you drop in, and I didn't say how many you had to drop.
Yeah, but if we're playing with a 3 midfield and you say who you drop.
If I'm playing with a 3, the problem is I'd probably drop Mangala, but I would look at that midfield 3 in terms of Danilo, Freuler, and Yatesy, and I don't see goals, if I'm being honest with you guys. I don't see many goals. Yeah. And you need a midfield that's going to score. You need, between the 3 midfielders, you'd want to see 10, 15 goals in the season. I think it's important that you get that kind of amount.
I think we'll see a few more from Yates, He got his first one the other day, even though it was in a 4-1 defeat. He looked a little bit more attack-minded yesterday as well. I think we'll see a couple of goals from Yates, which is something that's been really missing from his game this season because he's been getting better at every other aspect. And like I say, really impressed with his performance again yesterday as well. He gets around. His problem is he can't keep his hands off their players, and he eventually gets himself.
I don't know how he got away with.
I know for that long. Honestly, we were like, "Are you sure he hasn't been booked already?" Maybe I've missed something. But
I'm just because Sai's saying in there, you can't drop Yatesy Wolverine. I wouldn't drop Yatesy if it was a 3. I'm talking if we switched to a 4-2-3-1. But do you guys get my point about the lack of goals?
Do you not think that Freuler, who's further up the pitch, might provide a bit of a goal threat?
I think he provides more assists up the pitch than potential goals.
I'm not too worried about those 3 scoring many goals. Not when you've got MGW, you've got Scarpa, you've got a 1-2. They're the goal. They're the people that are going to get you the goals. I'm not too.
Yeah, but you still need a person who breaks in from the midfield. You have to. That's how you get. Like a good chunk of goals and assists or ricochets, like a bit like you saw, when Yatesy did it against Everton, where he took that shot from the edge of the box, it bobbled back into Jono. Yeah, that's where the midfield is becoming active into the attack. What you don't want to end up is with 3 just sitting across the line, you know, because that's my worry. Danilo's
We're saying Danilo deeper and then you pushing up.
Yeah. And I don't think that's how we're playing.
You're pushing up 2 that aren't renowned goal scorers. Freud is not a renowned goal scorer.
You're right.
So who is?
This is what I'm saying. Have we got that creativity in midfield? And I guess what I'm coming around to in a full circle is, as much as I love this Danilo signing, is this really our priority when we need centre backs and we need a striker? You know, I love him. You can't miss an opportunity. I've got nothing against this signing. I think it's fantastic. But if we get under the bonnet of it and, you know, flesh it out a little,
it is a priority, because one of the most important aspects of any defence playing well is the midfield in front of them. If the midfield in front of them is not playing well and allow players to come through them, that defence is under constant pressure and they let goals in. If you've got a good central defensive midfielder, Partey at Arsenal makes all the difference in the world. Kante at Chelsea's make all the difference in the world. Casemiro at Man United is now making all the difference in the world. Look at their defences now compared to how they used to be. Yeah, he is a vital.
But they've strengthened their defense, haven't they? I mean, Saliba's come in for Arsenal. You've got
Ben White was a great central. That's bollocks. Ben White and Gabriel were a good defensive partnership anyway.
Gabriel's a liability, mate.
He's a good defender. He's better than anything.
You're kind of missing the point I'm asking here. Is like, is it a priority, the CDM role?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a priority?
Yeah, I think so.
Ahead of a centre back and a striker.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I think that's the one role where we've been trying to put round pegs in square holes. We haven't got a dedicated. Freuler isn't a CDM.
That's
we
a
all
very
agree.
good point.
We all agree. He's not.
He's defensive. We're so defensive because we're shitting ourselves because we've not got a decent CDM.
Yeah. It really affects
the back. You can then afford to push players on.
Yeah, and the examples of the CDMs you guys have given are some of the best in this league. And maybe the chicken and the egg. Has the defense got stronger because of that CDM playing that role? Because it's also, I mean, Partey, he's brought the best out of Xhaka as well. And you're telling me a good CDM like Danilo can't bring the best out of our Freuler as well. Yeah, it has a knock-on effect, and it is they called the water carriers. They're called the ones. They've forgotten ones. They're the ones who kind of nick that team together.
Arsenal have lost one league game all season, and guess who wasn't playing in that league game?
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas
Partey.
I just think it's an interesting debate. Like, I'm not saying I'm right or you're right or whatever. I just think it's interesting. Like, the role of a CDM, I agree, is of huge importance. And the point that Freud has been shoehorned into it, I can't argue that point at all. And he doesn't look comfortable there for me. And if you look at, I can talk about Man United because obviously Twist has been crying out for a CDM for like 4 years. They've been begging for it, and they've been shoehorning players in like Fred and McTominay, and you can see like they've always been outnumbered in the midfield, outplayed in the midfield. So I am coming around to the way of thinking of it, but I still don't feel that the defense is strong enough behind it, if I'm being honest.
I think it will help, but no disrespect to Freuler, but he has got better at that. Even though we agree that it's not his best position, and he is being shoehorned into it. Every game, there's the odd game where he has a lapse, but generally his progress has been getting better and better in that position. But we do need somebody dedicated to do that role, and you will see that the defense, the confidence from Bolly and Worrell that we're now seeing. We certainly didn't see that from Worrell early on in the season. His confidence was shot to bits. He made mistakes. He was getting called out from it. Cooper, in hindsight, looks like he did the right thing of taking him out of the firing line. I'll go back far enough on our videos. You'll see we said take him out for a bit, not drop him, just take him out of the firing line for a bit because he's really struggling, especially after the Everton game. The subsequent game, Man City, we were a shambles. And he was severely affected by the criticism he was getting. I'm seeing a different Worrell now. And he admitted yesterday his post-match interview was actually very good. He admitted the silly mistake. He did one really stupid one. We should have literally booted out of play and he's headed it back in. You know, but he admitted to it, and I like this. I like that the players are coming out and calling themselves out. Brennan Johnson did it after he failed to pass that ball to a Wonyi where we should have had a goal against Chelsea. He rectified it in the next game, but he came out and said it. And held his hands up. Yates done that several times this season. Saw that from Warrior yesterday as well. And I think that the confidence has grown. So all has a knock-on effect. You have a dedicated CDM who protects you, does his role. It'll build your confidence, and that will make you a better defense. Surely, you know, it all blends in.
It's all value points. It's hard to find the balance. I think for me, what we were saying, or at least I was saying at the start of the season about Worrell, was he's not for a 3 at the back. You know, I've always thought he looked more comfortable in a 2. I'm still not convinced there's not a mistake in him. What I really like about Worrell is how he speaks, like his post-match interview. I always find it very like honest and to the point.
Yeah.
And even about his own play and his own assessment, I still feel there's mistakes in him. But then if this Bolly-Worrell combo is going to work and Hermoso's coming in, are we going to see potentially a switch to a back 3, God forbid? Or
You're
is he going to be
with that, aren't you? No, we're not. So you're obsessed with that. We're not.
So who's he going to replace?
Eh?
Does he replace or is he backup?
Is he right-footed?
Left-footed.
Right, okay. He'll put him on the left and Bolly on the right.
You think he'll drop Worrell?
Yeah.
All being fit, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
I don't know, guys in the chat. What do you think? Does one?
I don't think Worrell deserves to be dropped. I'm not saying he deserves to be dropped at all. I'm just thinking there's a possibility that could be a formation that back 2 that he'd look at. Well, Bolly has again another one. He didn't start off very well. His debut was poor, but he's got better and better, and he's got more and more solid and confident in his role, and he's making more of a difference. And you see the progress. We've been go back to it. Been lucky enough to see as many games live as we have this season. You're seeing the progress on the pitch from certain players where the confidence early on in the season was shot to bits, especially after the humiliating defeats. And it takes the human beings again. It's going to take a while to. It's going to take a very thick-skinned player not to be affected by those kind of.
He is quite thick-skinned. I think he's quite thick-skinned, but I still think there's a couple of mistakes in him. I just want to bring the chat into this. Someone's asking about Bolly's injury. What we've heard is that it's a twisted knee and an ankle. And they're icing it up and trying to reduce the bruising. I would assume he's going to miss out against Leicester. And we'll touch on Leicester in a second. Jimmy's saying Worrell's been thrown under the bus by Williams' lack of defending. I think that's another good point about you can flip it. Aurier's been a revelation and sorting out whoever's next to him. But I want to bring the chat in now because I want to get some of these questions discussed. So let's make this more engaging with the chat as we go. So Adam's saying when MGW played well against Wolves and passed the ball into the box, no one was there to greet it. Brennan was hiding far post behind everyone. Is Brennan afraid to score? And I'll give you that question from Adam. Get your questions in the chat, guys, in the Q&A, sorry.
What exactly is the question?
So the question is Brennan too scared to score because he's not going centrally enough, is what Adam's saying, and he ends up the wrong side of the post. And I guess in an inverted way, should there be a number 9 there instead of this bloody false 9?
Yeah, well, I think we've all made our views
Points
clear
on
on. Well, we'd all like to see a proper number 9 playing in the number 9 position. And I think if we did have that, I think Brennan's output would be greater. His assists would be greater, quite obviously. Is he? I don't quite understand what is meant by is he afraid to score?
Yeah,
I mean, afraid to shoot or afraid to score? I don't quite get. I'm sorry if I'm being dense, but
no. Well, Adam, you're in the chat. Clarify your question a bit, and we'll get Ant there. As look who's in the house. We got our very own megaphone man. Good to see you, buddy. All right. There's a question here from David. As I'll put this one to you. Who would you loan Surridge to? And would you loan Surridge would be the first question, I guess.
Only if you had somebody coming in. I don't think we can afford to be that low on recognised strikers at the club. So unless somebody's coming in, I wouldn't. If we have got somebody lined up, then I think he needs a loan. Probably to a top end championship side, but there's a lot of clubs. If you have a look at the championship table, that are still in with a shout of hitting the playoffs, all the way down to 14th, 15th in the table. So, and there's names like West Brom in there and big name, traditionally bigger name clubs that usually battle it out in the playoffs at least. So there's a few clubs that should be interested in him, because there's no doubt of the impact he made in our promotion challenge last season. So why he can't do that for another championship club? And I think that is his level. He did get enough chances against Blackpool to bury them, but didn't take them. But that is his level for me, unfortunately. I don't think he's done in anything, to be honest. I'm not saying he's not done enough. I don't think he's done anything in his chances that he's had, albeit with coming on as a sub. He hasn't done anything for me, sorry, but
I knew this question would trigger it all off. I really did. Then the chat are giving their say on it. Yeah, and I'm going to give you your say as well. But I've just opened the poll: is Sturridge Prem level or not? And what are your thoughts on this one?
Look, we're all sentimental about Sam because he played a decent part in our promotion last season. But I would pose this question to anybody that suggests we should keep him, and that is, would we buy him now? If he wasn't our player, would we buy him now? I think I know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And is contracted to one mind-blowing statement a week. And I think he's fulfilled his contract there.
Yeah. Well done.
That's a really good question. Ez, answer that question. And guys in the chat, you answer that question as well.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't, would we? Based on what his performance is so far this season, and based on actually what we saw when we signed him. It was only because Cooper had worked with him before and he knew what his potential was at the championship level. That deal was, because nobody else was really in for him when we signed him off Stoke, were they? So even going back a year, if it hadn't been for Cooper's links with him, we wouldn't have had him.
Stoke fans couldn't believe they got 2 million for him.
Yeah, exactly. They were over the moon, and we thought it was quite steep, 2.2 or something like that. We paid for him. Yeah, so no, you wouldn't be, and that's a great point, Ant. So that should kind of put that question to bed, whether he's. Yeah, it can end the poll now, mate. Ant's spoken, so yeah.
It's. I'm a bit blown away by Ant's question there, because it is a nice way to look at it. I've never thought of it like that. What I would say on the 2.2 mil we paid for him last year, he more than repaid that. Yeah, his goals got us into. So I've got no issues with that.
Yeah.
But I think this is the question going forward on the Sam Sturridge debate: is would you buy him now or not? So it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, and would you loan him or sell him if you got the option?
Would I buy him?
Loan him or sell him?
Loan him or sell him? I'd get rid. If you can get some money for him, I'd get rid. He's never going to be a Premier League player. Never. So
and I'm not thinking. If before anybody else says it, I'm not thinking. Oh, if we go down, he'll be good for a championship. Shut up. We're not going down. So no, that wouldn't be the way I'd be looking at it.
Well said, Ed.
Sorry, before anybody in the chat trolls me that comment, just save it.
I don't really think he's good enough for a promotion chasing championship side. If I'm honest, he was good for his last season because he fitted our system perfectly, and we brought him on mainly as an impact sub. Don't forget, he didn't get a lot of starts.
It's because Davies got injured.
If you started from day one as a championship promotion side, chasing side, I wouldn't want him anyway. And I love him, but
Sorry, going back to last season in particular, we were reviewing our promotion, and we said it was almost just perfect the way the strikers played, because Graben had a great start. He scored about 10, 15 goals before Christmas. Then he got injured. Then Keenan came in and had a spell. Then he got injured. Then Surridge came in and had a spell. And every single one of those strikers played a key role in that promotion that keep the momentum going. So it was just it was just perfect the way it worked out last season. But I can't see why he couldn't do that role for a club in the Championship. That is pushing in the right direction. There's everybody. Doesn't matter what league you're in. Sorry, Anne. It doesn't matter what league you're in. You're always looking for a striker who can score goals, aren't you? And they're the hardest position to fill. He's a ready-made striker for one of those clubs who might be thinking in that direction. But sorry, yeah, go ahead, Anne. Sorry.
No, all right. I want to move on from Surridge because it's not really a priority kind of conversation we have. We just had some breaking news as well, confirmed by FFTV High Press. So obviously make sure you are following on Twitter there. It's under the link. Danilo confirmed for 17.8 million sterling pound. So absolutely fantastic. If you are hyped about Danilo coming to Forest, and I will get a video up on that, please hit the like button. Subscribe, of course, if you are new. Let's get those likes. We're on 80 likes. 17.
And guys, if you want Mario to come back on, if the guys in the chat want Mario back on, we'll get him back on as well to talk Danilo and all things Palmeiras.
Yeah. Go on. I was gonna say I saw your typical arrogant arsehole video this morning on an Arsenal channel. Let's say that, and it was. We've been linked with Danilo all this time for months and months. And he's gone to Nottingham Forest. He's going to Nottingham. It looks like he's going to Nottingham Forest. Why would we be? So that just shows you. Why would we be interested in a player that's going to Nottingham Forest? That's fairly typical.
That's the arrogance of it. Yeah.
And then next season, when they come in for 60 million, we could say, bugger off.
Someone's asking about Danjuma in the chat. I've lost the message now. I'm sure I can find it. Now, there's been a development on him as well. Yeah, and there it is. Apparently, Boring Mouth are now getting him on loan first.
No, really?
So, Forest were interested in him, but have never made a big move on him. The priority was obviously getting Danilo on, and then they would have turned to Danjuma. I'm a bit annoyed about this one because how have Boring Mouth got him back when we could have had him? They're all loving Super Mario. Aren't they? We'll speak to him. We'll speak to him. We'll get him on. He was fantastic. On Danjuma, are you a fan or not a fan of him?
Yeah, he's a very good player. He's got the skills to pay the bills, mate. But he's played for Bournemouth, hasn't he? They've stuck with Gary O'Neill, haven't they, as their manager?
Yeah.
So he would have worked with O'Neill in his time there. He was there a season and a half ago in the Championship, and he stood out certainly that first half of the season. I think he scored about 10 goals in 15 games or something like that. He was a very forward-thinking, strong, athletically built, pacey winger, can score goals. One of those that I think used to play on the left and cut in on his right foot. That kind of player. But very good at doing that. It'd be a shame if we were out of a picture for him. So it's somebody that once we were linked with him, I thought would be. I don't know where he'd fit in, but probably on the left cutting in. But yeah, it'd be a shame if we're out of a picture now for him.
And you're not a huge fan of his, are you?
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. But do we need another winger? And he is a winger. Let's not pretend he's a winger.
He is a winger. Yeah, he is.
Do we need another winger? Do we need another winger?
Well, it depends what you think of Lingard and Dennis.
Well, it's probably better.
I think so.
But let's face it, if we're playing a false nine, Lingard and Dennis might not be out there. It could be Scarpa, could be anybody, could be MGW. You know, we've only got so many places. And well, let me put it this way, right? And I always say this: I don't care who we get, as long as he's not stopping us getting somebody else. So if you can get Danjuma in, but you also get a striker in and a centre back, no problem. But if by getting Danjuma, it means you haven't got the funds, or you're not willing to then get both those other positions, I say no.
Okay, well, we agree then he's better than Dennis and Lingard. Are we? I think so. I think he's better than both.
I've only seen him on YouTube, Ez. I've not seen him play 90 minutes, so I can't say.
No, I saw him play against us in that season.
He played in the Premier League a couple of years ago, mate.
Yeah, so what?
That's your one league that we attribute to you, and that we contract out for you.
Yeah, he did. And then what happened? He sold off back to Spain. So he couldn't have been that good, could he?
Okay, let's move forward a bit. Tim's asking, do we need a striker if we're not playing current strikers in the right position? Oof, good question. Who wants this one?
Sorry, what was the question? Repeat that, please.
Do we need a striker if we are not playing current strikers in their right position? Tim, you got work on your spelling, buddy, but I get what you're saying there.
That's a good question.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I guess Dino would echo this question as well. So you're answering on Dino's. Well, yeah, Dino will.
Yeah, Dino loves the false nine.
Toby, yes, we're still in for Becca. The link is still there. Sorry, gone.
Oh, but he's another winger turned striker.
Yeah, another bloody winger midfielder. Yeah,
many in my head.
Yeah, backing up Dino because Dino loves the false nine. Yeah, we're not playing the formation for a striker at the moment, are we? But I think we're in agreement that 4-2-3-1, if you have the right players available, is probably at optimum formation. I don't think we haven't seen it anyway, and I was hoping that we'd see it in Wolves game because I want to see it tomorrow on Saturday against Leicester. We can't afford to be sitting back and soaking up pressure against them. They are a different beast. They are a different beast without Maddison, that's for sure.
Is he still out?
He'll still be out. You know, so there's no danger of him. I believe there's no danger of him playing against us on Saturday, and that affects. And we have got players like Tiedemann still in there, but the creative edge from them, which unfortunately we gave them the freedom of a park at their shithole, but it's not gonna happen on Saturday. And what we have to do is play a formation that is in their face. If we play the high line we did against Wolves last night and stick to that, we can really get about them and kill the game in that first half. Doesn't always work out that way, but you got one goal and sitting back is not going to get us enough victories in this league. So we have to be on the front foot and stay on the front foot as long as we can. And then if you're soaking up for the last 20 minutes when you're 2-0 up, as dangerous as that scoreline is, it's better than defending a 1-0 lead for the rest of the game. So, you know, it's the way we approach it, and we've got to be, for me, on the front foot. A 4-2-3-1 would get you a striker in there. Will he eventually go for that? Will he have the courage to go? But you have to be brave to play that formation, especially in the position that we're in. It might be something we see a few more games down the line when we've got a bit more of a gap between us and the relegation place. And then maybe he'll be a bit more braver in his formation. But for now, I'd like to see it against Leicester, but I don't think we will. So getting another striker in right now, unless you're getting rid of Surridge, I believe you have to have 2 strikers in there. Eventually he will play.
Have to get another one. We definitely would need another one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna jump into the Leicester talk in a second. We've just got a couple more questions that I want to get through. So Bobby's asked a question here, and you're the only one on screen, so you're going to answer it. Do you think Cooper is playing something like a 4-1-2-3? It seems Freuler is more defensive, as Wolfie has said.
Yeah, that's probably true. Actually, it is kind of like a 4-1-2-3 sometimes, because Freuler does seem to be holding back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that formation. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Yeah, fair enough.
We've answered it. Yeah. The question is, do you think it is? And we've said yes.
All right, cool. All right. Next question is from Acid Burnout. He says, do you think it's the nerves of the team that makes us sit back after scoring, or Cooper's instructions? Ooh, that's a tasty question. Let's go with Ez on this one.
From what I've seen, for me, it feels more like nerves from the players. But we haven't picked up enough points this season for us to have the confidence of being able to, you know, get a goal and think that we're going to win the game. Last season, if we scored the first goal, more often than not, we thought we were going to win the game, and very rarely did we, did we lose points from getting the first goal in the games. If you look at our stats from last season. But that obviously gave us the confidence. We haven't had that confidence this season, and you've seen the flip side of it. But they do get panicky, so I wouldn't put the blame on necessarily on the way Cooper's instructed them. I think it is just inbuilt at the moment because we haven't had the start that we wanted, and it affects your confidence, no doubt about it.
And have you got a counter, or do you agree with him? Because if you agree with him, I'm going to skip you and I'll counter him because I don't.
I've forgotten the question.
I'm looking at the chat. It's on the screen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. No, I agree with Ez. Yeah. Listen, it's not unusual for teams to score a goal and then sit back. We've seen it on millions and millions of games. I don't like it, but it's quite a common thing. And I think that it is the players. I think they do start to worry, and because I've seen Cooper on the sidelines, get up. And I've heard him after interviews saying they're not following my instructions. We was too deep. I wanted them to press up, and they weren't doing it. So yeah, I think it's, and you can understand as well. Look, we've not had a great season so far, so I can understand them being nervous. It's frustrating for us as fans, but we've seen it before. You know, why are you sitting back? You're sitting back. The shit's scared of losing. So yeah. I think it's the team, not the.
It was a common theme under Houghton, wasn't it?
Very cool. Yeah.
Even when we were 1-0 down, he was sitting back, with prick. But but it's definitely. I would put it. Go on, Wolverine, counteract that. But I'm saying it's the players.
I'll counteract it. But let's pick up the Kirinator. Thank you so much for 179, buddy. Is saying super Ez, Wolverine the GOAT, and awesome Forest, and thank you, buddy. Yeah, don't forget to spam those super S's. I can't even get my words out. And the awesome Forest and in the chat with the new emojis. Give them big heads. Yeah, we had to draw it
like on our cartoons. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Kirinator. Appreciate it, buddy. My counter to it is still, I just feel that we've been scarred, and I'm going off a lot of the comments that I get on YouTube, that people still refer back to the start of the season and how that when we attacked, we opened up and we conceded too many goals, and they say we can't go back to that because we'll end up conceding too many goals. My counter on this isn't that I'm saying go gun ho. I'm not saying send 10 men forward. But I am saying 34% at home against a Wolves team that I thought wasn't great yesterday is not a high enough percentage at the world-famous City ground. You know, for me, there's still not a balance. I'm just being straight with you guys.
I'd just be interested.
You're not answering the question, though, are you?
Wait, hold on. Ez wanted to say something first.
No, I would be interested in what the stats were at half-time and then at full-time in terms of
they were no better. In fact, they were a little lower. I think they were 29%, weren't they, Anne, when we spoke at half time?
What? They were awful anyway. But you're not answering the question. You've not come back.
I'll answer the question. I personally think it's from the manager.
Okay.
I think, and I'm basing it on what he said after the Man U game, when he was saying we wanted to make them have the ball in certain positions, and he wanted that position, he said, in their defensive half, which opens up half the pitch for them, you know? So I still think that's something they've obviously worked on at half time. It's just my opinion. But then I think that you can't flick the switch. That's the problem with it. If they're training that, the only time we've seen the flick switch was against Chelsea in the second half. Yeah. You know?
Just bring up the question again, please, on Wolverine.
Yeah, ask your mod, mate. I might to bring it up.
It's your mod. You bought it.
It's our mod, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's a different question altogether, really, to what you've just answered, you muppet. Because you didn't say he's talking about taking the lead and then holding on. You didn't mention that. You're talking about we're coming out. No, but you use the example of a Man U game. We never took the lead in that Man U game, so
that's even worse. That's even worse. We went behind and sat back.
Your example's rubbish, mate. Right, so you didn't answer the question like Ant said.
All right, let me read the question fully then. Right, bloody hell! Here comes the grumpy git. Do you think it's the nerves of the team that make us sit back after scoring, or Cooper's instructions? I still think it's Cooper's instructions. I still think that he
say
thinks...
it anyway, regardless. Such a little child, are you? Just admit you're wrong, yeah, and just say, okay, sorry, I read the...
How am I wrong?
You think that Cooper says to him, as soon as you go up, come right back here onto the edge of your own box and stay there for the rest of the game? You think that's his instructions, do you?
Well, you think the players think... So you're saying it's the players?
I think the players subconsciously start getting deeper and deeper. Have you never seen that in a football match?
Yes.
Well,
but have you never seen a manager instruct players to drop deeper?
Yeah, but we're saying that we don't think that that's the case.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, and I'm saying that I think it's the case. So we don't know who's right or wrong.
You're wrong. Move on.
Yeah, but okay, we'll move on.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's start talking about what's really important now, which is the Leicester game on Saturday. So we'll be having, of course, a showdown tomorrow with... We'll keep it a surprise as to who we're bringing on. But there's another Leicester YouTuber. We're going to have some fun with them tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, don't forget, we featured, and I quote, as the biggest Forest YouTube channel with our mate James. Guys in the chat, have you seen the video with us on James's channel? Let me find the link just in case they haven't.
Yeah.
So
James Lawrence Alcott channel.
Oh yeah, I'm just calling him James because I know. Yeah, James Lawrence Alcott. Right?
You're best mates now, aren't you? Yeah, but
best buddies, man. BFFs.
And guys, if you haven't watched it, literally Wolverine manages to stop him in his tracks. I've never seen James lost for words. Wolverine manages to stop him in the track, so it's worth watching just for that moment. And it's quite like Wolverine said, he's classed us as one of he has classed us as the biggest.
His title is asking the biggest fan channels, the biggest fan channels for their Premier League predictions. And as you're right, I got him to leave his chair and leave his room to take some deep breaths. Yeah, so make sure you watch that and subscribe to James as well. Not that he needs any more. He's got like 216,000. Yeah. There's Jason. He's seen it.
There he is.
Yeah. So make sure you do watch that. It's such a funny video, and it's really good to see what the other fan bases were thinking as well from the YouTube channels.
But
so go check it out. It's hilarious.
If you can't bother to watch the whole video, we're in about 28 minutes in. Just to say, if you're watching the whole thing.
Don't tell James he told you that. Okay, I want to move it on to Leicester. Yeah, the Leicester match. Obviously the Leicester fans still care. That's very specific there. Obviously the Leicester fans really care about this game in terms of a rivalry.
Yeah,
I care about it from the perspective of 3 points.
Yep.
What do you care about it? Do you care about one or the other or both? As
not their fake derby rivalry. They're rivals because they're in the East Midlands, but for me it's more about revenge on that appalling display at their shithole earlier this season, at their foxhole earlier this season, and just the way we again capitulated against a team that were below us at the time. We gave them their first win of the season. Probably saved Brendan Rodgers' job, no doubt about it. It saved his job that night. So that for me is the motivation for Saturday. I don't care about them. They're not rival to us. They never will be. Not in the Derby sense. And even Derby can't be that anymore at the moment. They're gonna have to find their own rivalries as well. But just purely from the point of view that we need revenge for that performance, for that display, for that result, and we cannot afford to lose another 6-pointer, and certainly not at home. So all 100%. Those things are my motivation.
100%. I just want to shout out Bobby, man. Bobby, who I think he got to the City Ground yesterday, couldn't get into the match, and I think he's flying back to the States today as well. Bobby, are you back safely? Sorry, I haven't caught up on messages on the WhatsApp. By the way, don't forget our WhatsApp number is in the top corner there. Drop us a message. Talk to us about Forest. You'll be talking directly to us, so get it done. But hopefully you got back okay, buddy. I agree. I think this is more about revenge than it is about a rivalry. Add on to that the 3 points as well. I couldn't give a damn if Leicester were from the Midlands or goddamn island. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and where are you with this Leicester wannabe debate? You're looking very red.
What's happening there?
Is one of your clients ringing again?
Well, it depends on our injury situation. I'm quite positive about the game on Saturday because I think Leicester not only got Maddison out, I believe they've got about 3 other players out as well. And they're not playing well. They're not a good side. And I think that with the crowd, with the occasion, I think we've got every chance of winning that game. As I say, wait to see what the injury situation is.
Do you think we can win this one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, why not? They're not a good side. We're good at home.
No, are they? They've been having some shocking results as well.
Yeah, and we're good at home.
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think the lineup will be? I think because assume Awoni's out.
Wow.
And Body's out.
Yeah. Well,
I don't care about Leicester one. Yeah.
It's like I said, as I mentioned, it depends on our injury situation, doesn't it? Is Awoni going to be fit?
I said assume Awoni is out, and even I think Awoni will sneak back in. But assume he's out and Body's out. What are you doing with the formation?
Well, you know me in formations, don't you?
I've come to you.
Yeah, Endo in goal, Aurier, Worrell, McKenna, Logie, Mangala, Freuler, Yates, MG Scarpina, and the other one. Who were missing? Jono. Yeah. That's it. That will be the team. I may get in there, but that will be the team. Not my
yeah. Well, I'll give you a quick answer. I'd bring McKenna in for Bolly if he's still injured. If Awoni's available, I'll bring him in and I drop a midfielder and I go 4-2-3-1. Personally, but I don't think Cooper would do that. Even if
he ain't doing that, so stick with the 4-3-3.
Let's go 4-3-3. Then I wouldn't change the front three from yesterday. I want to see them together as often as possible.
Do you think they were good enough with the false niners? Because I think that's our most talented.
No, but I think they will get better. They've got to be given more than one game, and then us judge them on that one game. They're 3 of our most talented players, and you're telling me they can't knit together at some point. So for me, you got to keep persisting with it. If you're not going to play a Awoni in his number 9 position, and you persist with that front 3, and you allow them the ability as often as possible to build up that rapport on the pitch in competitive games, because they could be the difference makers to this season, especially Scarpa. It could be the difference between difference
but
between.
He needs to play behind a person. I still think. I think it's something that I think was it Dino mentioning it yesterday. If we've put our most talented front 3 in terms of MGW, Scarpina, and Jono, and they couldn't get it to click, and you're saying don't judge them after one game, yeah? Well, we all judged Surridge after the Blackpool game. We all judged Dennis after the Blackpool game.
He's not had one game this season. Surridge has had his games, and I'm sorry, that's not the same. That's not the same. You're conflating different arguments here. You're not telling me they're not after. You're not telling me they're not our 3 most productive attackers.
Let's put it this way: you and I have said the same team, so let's hear what he's got to say.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, you can't just pick the formation you want. You've got to pick the formation we're going to play.
You want me to go with the 4-3-3
and the personnel available.
Same
rules. Awoni and Bolly aren't available, so same rules.
Yeah.
Well, no, I can change the rules for me.
No.
I'm hosting the show.
Yeah, you can't.
He's not even. I'll hide it.
Well, you'll just talk over you if you do that. So
I swear to God, you guys have grown some balls now just because you got some emojis. Yeah.
Well, this is it. Listen, I told you it's a knock-on effect. Confidence grows when you've got emojis. Your confidence grows when you've got PDM. Defense gets back.
Wait, I haven't even got an emoji, mate. All right, what I would do. It's tough because I think we're thin, depth-wise.
Just say the same team as us. That's how it's going to end up.
I'm not. I would, if Bolly's injured, I'll bring Cook back in. I'm joking.
No.
I've got to say, I agree with Si. McKenna's not filling me with confidence. Not so much on the defensive side, but getting the ball forward. And I'm trying to think what other defender we've got. I'll probably put Embasso in.
Embasso is keeping on the bench because of Williams being out and giving some cover for right back. But Embasso, he doesn't see him as a centre back. He's not been playing him as a centre back.
You asked me what I'd do. I'd put him in maybe. All right, fine. I'm just trying to be different. I'll go McKenna. I'm not convinced on this front three. If I was going to do it, I would probably do it as a double cam with a 1. So I'd bring them in more narrow, be a bit more lopsided. I'd put MG
Dub. The 1 is it Jono? Is Jono the 1 up front?
Yeah. I just feel Scarpa needs someone in front of him to really see the magic. And I don't think Jono's a striker.
I've said this to you before, though, haven't I? Players don't have to stick rigidly to where their position is. So there's nothing wrong. So I don't think they did that. Nothing wrong with Jono coming in off the right and then Scarpa feeding him, or MG Dub coming in off the left.
I know.
So you don't have to stick out on the wing, do you?
Guys, I was on Scarpa watch last night, right? Myself and Charlie were both on Scarpa watch last night, and he was given a free role. He was popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't quite as effective because the midfield was very congested, should I say. We should have got wider when we were trying to break through them. But they interchanged quite, especially Gibbs-White and Scarpina. Jono played more orthodox down the right, but them two switched from middle to left quite interchangeably throughout the game. And
I like that.
Yeah,
if they had a striker in front of them, 4-2-3-1. I'm going to say it again. But
there were so many occasions we've all talked about it where the ball came in and there was no one there, and that is my disappointment, because you've got some people now who can even Jono's crossings got better. We know Scarpa on his day can whip a ball in from any side with any foot, with either foot. But you need somebody in there, and that's why he's got to be brave. I'd go 4-2-3-1. I changed the formation.
Yeah, but we ain't going to do it. It's never
no,
keep
saying
it.
He has to bench. I think he will bench. I think he'll get through these next half a dozen games, and I think you'll start seeing that a lot more. Honestly, what's happening to our colour scheme?
Breaking news at the bottom for those of you coming in late about Danilo. There's the breaking news for you. Danilo is permanent deal, not loan to buy. So there you go. Fantastic news.
It's what you said earlier. Marinakis got fed up and says, "Look, I won."
Yeah, there you go.
I would question some of the grammar in that sentence, but outside of that, it's not bad.
I'd like to make a quick point. I was a little bit disappointed that MGW snaffled all the free kicks and corners and everything, and Scarpa wasn't
good point.
Yeah, because especially the ones from the opposite side, the whipping ins. I was expecting Scarpa to whip him in, curl him in. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that.
But we did score from the corner. Just to put the counter argument.
Maybe that was a game plan. I saw some of the watch along back today, and you were saying that maybe that was a game plan to actually whip it into the front post and look for a flick. Because, excuse me, Aurier was in that front post position. He's one of our best headers of a ball. He's not the tallest player on the pitch, but he's dominant in the air. And if he can get a good,
how many times he's going to be able to pull out a world-class bloody back flick like that? I mean, it's
beautiful.
I don't think
that they were.
I think it might well have been a plan, but I don't think it was well executed. I think it was the first one just got snaffled up, and the second one put that outrageous kind of off in the air backflip, which you can't rely on. So I don't think they were really good. Might have been a plan, but I don't think they were really good. I don't like this colour scheme. Can we get it back to red? It's horrible.
No, I don't.
It's breaking news. You got to go yellow, mate. All right. While we change that, who wants to answer that question? I am abstaining from answering that question.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't outstanding, but I think for a debut, I think he did okay. We weren't flowing forward and attacking, will we? Which is where he's going to shine. So that's my view on it.
He was much more impressive in his role. even in a defeat against Blackpool than he was last night. It wasn't his best game so far, and he made more of an impact probably in Southampton game as well. But he's definitely a talent, and he's definitely one that when he does something, it will get the fans off their seats. And I'm not certainly. I don't believe he's writing him off, and I don't think any of us are writing him off after last night. But it wasn't his best performance. Let's put it that way.
And I didn't get to watch the match, so I can't comment on how good he was.
Did you know?
Anyway, score wise, what you boys thinking?
I'm confident. I'm confident for a 3-0 win. I think there's we've kind of been promising it that some team's going to take a beating, and I'm hoping and praying that it's Leicester on Saturday, and we wipe them out. And they're really low on confidence. An early goal would be brilliant. Would be absolutely perfect on Saturday. And like I say, going into, I'm not sitting back on that one goal, but I really want to go for the jugular. So I'm predicting a 3-0. And yeah,
if you're going big, guys in the chat, what are you going on this scoreline? So 3-0 from Ez, and
well, you know,
higher or lower.
Well, you know my thoughts on predictions, that they're bullshit, meaningless, and I never get any of them right. But if you want me to say a score, I'll say 2-0 Forest. Why not?
That's like pretty okay, cool. Let's see what the guys in the chat are saying score-wise. Let's bring them up. Where's our mods? Oh my! Earn your keep. I don't want to reach across. All right, I'll read them out as we go through. He's so lazy. Oh my god! Does anyone want to be a mod? Let us know in the chat. Simon's going 1-0. Pat's saying there's no way we get 3 Ez. And Phil's saying 2-1 Tuffy, but we need points. Delete the Elite is saying 2-1. JP saying we must be due another penalty. When was our last penalty? Was it the Wolves one? Is that our last penalty we've had in the game?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure we scored one since then, haven't we? Can't remember.
I feel like Brennan had another one. I can't remember.
No, in 1985.
Oh god, here we go. Okay. Acid Burn saying 4-1 like last season. I'll definitely take that. Take that. Megaphone giving us a 2-0 to Forest. He's just copying. And so is David. Jimmy saying 1-0 to Forest. JP saying 2-0. 1-0 from Dino. 2-0 from Southpaw. 3-0.
That was
Go on, he talks sense. Trevor Francis' tracksuit, mate. You talking sense?
He's usually on the ball with it. Yeah. Townsend's going 2-0. Gibbs-White scoring. Freuler, he's due one. He is due one, isn't he? I'd like to see Freuler score.
Yeah.
Optic goes saying 2 goals from Forest. Get out. What's been our biggest winning scoreline this season?
Not many.
1-2-1, 1-0, 2-1. Yeah, it hasn't been. I don't think we won by 2 clear goals in the league, have we?
Oh, wait, who did we beat 2-1?
I can't remember. I think I made that one.
They've all been 1-0, haven't they?
Made that one. Hey, how many times have we scored 2 goals
against Boring Mouth?
Yeah, lost. Yeah.
Wait, yeah, no, okay. It was the next message. I should have just read it. Breaking news: Forest still in the hunt for Dan Juma. Boring Mouth can't sell it to him. Yeah, wake up. You're spot on. Thank you for clearing that. We won every game 1-0. My God.
Yeah.
Man. My God.
Yeah, but like I said, somebody deserves a big beating, and hopefully it's Leicester on Saturday. So that's my proviso for it. Somebody's going to get one. We can't keep winning by 1 goal if we do win. We're going to have somebody take 2 or 3 goals off us. But yeah, why not? Start on Saturday, mate.
Absolutely.
3
So breaking news. So if you want to find out more about the Dan Juma story, make sure you're just under below Ez there. You got the Twitter links, the links in the description as well. And I'm sure our mod, if he's awake, we'll put it back in there. Loads of scores. Let's shout out a few more of them. Andy saying 2-0. Mark going 2-0. A lot of 2-0s. Stan, sorry, is going 3-1. Nearly called him something else. Jason saying 1-0 actual score. Want to see a 3-0 for once. Yeah, I'll take a 3-0. Ayan is saying 2-0 as well. And Megaphone said, I said it before. Ants copying you, is he? And Gordon's going 3-0. Optic goes going 1-1. Bloody hell. Robert's going 0-0. Here comes the draw brigade.
Oh,
yeah, we know it's in Grimsby, but I meant in the league, David, in the league. All right, Mark, we know we're talking league. Come on. And breaking news, of course, on the high press. So make sure you go check that out. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be doing I might do a video tonight. I don't know. It's getting late. We'll have the transfer video rounding up all the details on Danilo. We'll break down the contract information, the medical information, and everything like that for you guys. And tomorrow we got a showdown in the evening. Don't miss that. We're bringing on a fellow Leicester YouTuber. I'll keep it a surprise for you guys. I think we're on at 8:45 off the top of my head. Before you leave, if you haven't already, please do hit the like button. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you all for your amazing support. I mean, I think we've had nearly 1,000 subscribers in the last 7 days. It's crazy. So thank you so much. And we will catch you tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.